Well, good morning, everyone. It's raining here in East Tennessee. I have a little bit of an allergy problem, so I'm a little more nasally than normal. But today we're going to have some fun. We are going to talk about our magical spiritual toolbox. If you recall, in episode 2 of this first season, called Creating Your Sacred Space, we talked about how important it was to create a space just for you, just for your meditation, your escapism, for rituals, for connecting with the divine and connecting with your highest self. And then in episode 3 of this first season, titled Unleashing Your Inner Magic, we talked about how to identify what magic means to us as an individual. Because definitely magic, the definition, is based on individuality and your perspective. So today we're going to talk about creating that magic toolbox and what it means to you and how important it is, and how to use it to help you with everyday challenges and everyday blessings, because we always want to be grateful. Anyway, tune in for this episode all about creating our magic toolbox. Hello, kindred spirits. Welcome to the Magical Mystical Divinations Podcast. I'm your host, Southern Mystic Tama P, creator of mysticdivinations.com. That's mystic with a K, by the way. I invite you into my sacred space in East Tennessee. Grab your favorite drink and hang out with me for a spell for lighthearted insight, tips and tidbits, a lot of wisdom as we connect on a higher level beneath our beautiful Mother Moon. So a lot of us have traumas and triggers and suffer from mild to moderate to severe PTSD. And when you're working with a therapist, they definitely try to give you tools to help you with your mental health issues. We all are facing a spiritual warfare in one form or another because of all of the environmental influences. Now, I'm not a therapist, but I have worked on myself for a great many years, and I have made such progress by tapping into my spiritual toolbox. And I didn't know how important it was to have it immediately. So I want to answer the question, why does it matter to have a spiritual toolbox? Well, for one thing, if your mind has been hijacked by anxiety or depression, or it's hard to find the right things to self-soothe, you need a kit. It can be an emergency kit if you want it to be, but it can be something you take with you. Once again, when you created your sacred space, I told you how mobile it is. It can go with you anywhere once it lives inside your mind. And I talked then about how you could take certain objects with you on travel just so you can tap into your sacred space. Well, the same thing is true with your spiritual toolbox. That magic toolbox that we're going to use a lot more than you'll ever realize. So you can have a travel one, or you can have one that just stays in a room, stays in your sacred space. But there are at least 8, if not more, must-haves to create your spiritual toolbox. And this will work with any faith or religion or belief concept because you're creating it just for you. And I just want to give you ideas. I don't know how many of you enjoy going to thrift stores, but old chests, oh, I love to prowl through old chests. Old suitcases. It doesn't have to be old. I just happen to like vintage stuff. Anyway, so you can have fun going thrift store shopping and looking for such items because you want to create your container first. If you're crafty, you could make your own spiritual toolbox. You can paint it. Or if it's of wood, you can stain it. You can line the inside with the contact paper or some type of textile or colorful fabric that has images that when you look at it makes you feel happy or calm or relaxed. Now, I'm an avid reader, so I really, really like books. Something good to have are reference books for whatever your spiritual genre is. It could be Bibles if you're a Christian. It could be books on witchcraft if you're a witch, or if you're Wiccan or pagan. There are so many reference books, which are always good to have. Of course, I think everybody should own books about crystals because I can't even pronounce half of the names of these crystals. My friend Debbie, whom I interviewed recently and is co-creator of Mystic Divinations, She really knows her crystals. Once upon a time, I was a little envious of that, but I realized instead of being envious, I need to just enact the skills that I have and the knowledge that I have. And then by collaborating with her and people who have knowledge in other arenas, it really expands my knowledge and my self-worth. But also inside your magic toolbox, I recommend you have a journal, because this is where we're going to be able to journal our thoughts and feelings. And maybe when we're playing with tarot cards or oracle cards, maybe we want to write down what we learned when we pulled certain cards. And it's really fun to create this magic spiritual toolbox. No matter what your belief system is, and even if you're just tapping into your highest self, tapping into your subconscious, you're going to want to tap into divine guidance. And that's what I'm speaking about, whether it's God or Buddha or one of the deities, one of the Greek goddesses or gods. For me, I just cover it all with the divine or the universe. You want something in your toolkit to remind you that you're never alone. And by that, I mean you may have a little poem book about uplifting messages. You may have a devotional book. You may have a book on angels. Whatever works for you. But you want to be able to tap into it when you need it. And once again, this is where oracle cards or tarot cards would be great to tap into divine guidance. Now, I don't know if you work with the elements, but I do. And I like to incorporate elements from the earth. And when we're triggered by those traumas or anything, we feel untethered. And I think it's very important to reconnect to the powerful vibrations of our Mother Earth. I find it to be really grounding, and most of us need to work on our grounding because it's easy to get tripped up. So this is where you can incorporate the crystals and gemstones that you may hold when you meditate, or that you just sit out around your meditation area or something. So that's one element of the earth. Of course, candles, incense would be a good element to have. You could have carved wood. You could have dried flowers. There's no limit to the things that you can incorporate into your toolbox. Now, I like to work with moon water, but some people work with wine or oils to reflect, the water element. Feathers, even images of birds to reflect the air element. But smoke also works as an air element. So if you have the candle or incense, of course, you have that element there, as well as fire. So earlier, I mentioned the books and briefly touched upon the journal, but we really need a journal to release all of your feelings. And you can look at it as a diary if you want to, but this is a journal specifically to work through rage or sadness or anxiety. And I can tell you this is ever so helpful, because there are so many things you might want to say that would hurt someone you love, but you're hurting and you need to release that. And one thing I love to do is I will write it out exactly how I feel. It does not matter if it's a vile passage, I write it out. I get rid of it. I expel that negativity. And sometimes I save it in my book so I can reflect on it later. And I find that months later, I may not feel that way anymore. But if you don't want to risk someone finding it, you can always burn that page after you've released it. But do create a specific release journal, because your mind needs a way to process your heavy emotions. Now, in one episode, I talked about automatic writing, because in my oracle deck, multiple times in a short period of time, I drew the card automatic writing. I had never tried it. So I did try it not too long ago. And oh my gosh, I've only tried this once. It was amazing, the message that came through. So that would be probably an entire episode. But maybe in your toolbox, you need something in there that could make you laugh. I mean, it could be a book of jokes, but it helps to soothe tension in the body. Laughter is proven to be a great stress reliever. Find something that makes you feel good, makes you smile, makes you giggle or chuckle. Or even if it's just a silly little doll or something, put something in there to make you laugh. And when you need it, pick it up and reflect on it. And you've got to have an outlet. You've got to have an inlet as well. So you really want to have something that reminds you of a joyous moment, especially something that makes you laugh. It could be pictures of you and your friends doing something goofy, but keep that in there. It's important to have such a thing. Now, another thing you might have are gratitude beads. It could be like Greek worry beads. It could be prayer beads. I mean, this is something that you can make. You don't have to buy it. It could be oyster shells or coastal beach shells. And usually beads are very soothing. They're cool and to the touch and smooth if that's what you go with. But also you can use these beads when you're praying to God or to the universe. And I specifically have I have several angel-shaped stones made of different types of stones that I love to start my morning with a little prayer of gratitude. But if you don't want the beads, there's worry stones. But have something soothing in there like that. When you're having those frustrating moments or tense moments that you can just pull it out, that's the intention and purpose of those beads or stones. Crystals are very important to have in your magic toolkit and in your sacred space. I love to work with crystals and stones for their specific energies and colors because each stone and color represents an element or a chakra or an intention. So be sure to include healing stones in your toolbox. Maybe you want to work with crystal wands or raw stones, or do you prefer the polished stones? You may want to have or make a crystal grid from a fabric or draw your own crystal grid. A crystal grid consists of geometric shapes and a pattern to aid with directing energy and manifesting intentions. Working with crystal grids would require its own episode, but the point is the magic toolbox is an extension of oneself, another element to creating our own magic, expanding our ideas and thoughts, and more importantly, expanding our awareness. It helps to elevate our awareness and our connection with our inner mystic and our highest self. And definitely it enhances the connection with your God or the divine or the universe or whomever you want to pray to or believe in. The magic toolbox needs to be symbolic. It needs to be practical. Really, in my opinion, magic is all about symbolism. There isn't any real magical power in a single item. It comes from the collective thoughts and energy that we infuse into our beliefs and practices. So when you create your magic toolbox, think about what you want to achieve. Think about the energy that you want to put out into the world. But it's also very important to think about protection. You have to protect your energy, your mental and spiritual well-being. You want to protect your home, your space, your family, your pets, your friends. So you need to have tools in your kit for protection. So having stones of protection in your kit is a must-have in my opinion, such as black tourmaline or obsidian, selenite. I have evil eye stones in my kit and in my home and in my car. You can get them anywhere if you are interested. The evil eye refers to a blue-colored glass or gemstone, often with concentric circles representing an eye, used as an amulet, as the evil eye brings good luck and protects you from any ill will that could otherwise have a negative effect on your well-being or your life in general. While the most traditional evil eye symbol is a sapphire or cobalt blue hue, evil eye charms in different colors hold different meanings. So you may want to include one of those in your toolkit. You may want to have black salt in your kit or white salt because salt rings are useful to create barriers and to work with when doing specific rituals for many of my witchy friends. It's not a must-have for some people, but what's it going to hurt to have a little pouch of some white salt and a little pouch of some black salt? You never know what's going to arise in life, and you want to be prepared. Another must-have is white sage or palo santo, used for smudging and cleansing the space you are in and clearing the energy of the room. Also, having a bell, such as a witch's bell, is a perfect item for many reasons. It can be rung to clear energy, mark the beginning or end of a ritual. It's often used on doors or hanging in your garden, but you need one for your travels as well because the ringing of bells is said to clear the space of negative energy and to ward off bad luck and to welcome good luck. It can also be used to mark the beginning or the end of a ritual or ceremony or a healing session. Sound is magical in itself, so an item that creates sound, such as the bells, is a beautiful addition to your magical toolbox. I love to use singing bowls for sending good energy to those I love and care about. So a singing bowl is a great tool to have. Their resonant sound vibrations are believed to promote deep relaxation, mental clarity, and a sense of well-being by influencing the body's energy system. I have a larger one in my sacred space, which is my healing room, but you can get a smaller bowl for travel or for smaller spaces. Or use some other musical instrument such as a harmonica or ukulele or a drum. Use it to mark the beginning or the end of your magical practice, whether it's used for meditation or spell work for relaxation reasons. Because music sets a mood and generates a physical reaction. And when we are working with our inner magic, which was our topic in episode 3 of season 1, when we're working with our inner magic to create magic, we must create a mood. So setting the mood is very important. And music has a way of casting a spell on us anyway. Just think of songs that make you feel a certain way. Music in any form is a welcome tool for our magical toolbox. I love Stevie Nicks. Most of you probably do. And many of her songs sets a very magical mood. So sometimes I play her songs while I am setting up my candles and things before meditation or before working with specific intentions. There are so many musical or sound items that you can use. For instance, the tuning forks. I love working with tuning forks for specific purposes such as chakra work. It's all about intention. And that's our magical toolbox. It's as much about what our intentions are as what it can do for us. You know, when an artist or an actor or actress or an entertainer or singer, when they go on stage or they get in front of their audience or they work with their medium, they have to use certain tools. They have to get in a certain mindset. And for instance, you know, a lot of the bands, they would go way out with their appearance because it created a mood for them. And when they stepped onto the stage, they felt powerful. They felt probably magical in many instances. It sets the tone. It sets the mood. When I started working with creating sacred space and working with my inner magic, you know, it started small with just the most basic items, and it has grown and flourished, and I love, love, love working my sacred space and working with my divine and my energies, and it is magical to me. But the thing that I added most recently was to start wearing certain clothes just used for that purpose. When I'm going to, spend some time in my room meditating or working for a certain reason, I wear certain things. And that's very important too, because then I really do feel magical. So you may want to incorporate a hat or bracelets or necklaces or a certain robe. I mean, you can do anything. When you step into that garment or you put that hat on or whatever it is that makes you feel magical, when you use that with these other tools, the power that you feel is so intense. It just really helps you to believe in yourself and helps you to center your focus on where you're trying to project the energy, whether it's for your own mental clarity or spiritual well-being or to send that to someone else. It's just very magical. And magic, as I told you in episode 3, is how we define it. And magic is all about your intentions. There's a song out there, Do You Believe in Magic? Well, there's magical tricks, there's magical illusions, and then there's the magic that I'm talking about. And that is what's within our inherent potential, our creativity. It is what exists within each individual. And it encompasses our unique talents, our passions, and untapped abilities, which is what I want to encourage in people. You may already know what some of your abilities and special gifts and skills are, but there's always more. So inner magic is the ability to manifest positive change in our lives through our own thoughts, emotions, and actions. It's about connecting to our authentic selves and utilizing our inner strength to create positive outcomes. And so when you create your magic toolbox, which I hope you have inside your sacred space, you are creating magic. You are creating potential for change in a positive direction that can impact your future. Because that's what I want to impart to you, is that you do have special abilities, special gifts. You do not have to be stuck in a rut. You can begin today making small changes that will have large impacts by believing in yourself and strengthening your awareness and your belief and your position here on earth. But find where you feel comfortable. Become comfortable in your own skin. Live your authentic life. Be as organic and real as you can. I am sending you blessings on this day. I hope I have given you food for thought. I hope that I have given you encouragement. Please feel free to comment. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me at mysticdivinations@gmail.com. That's mystic with a K. And also, thank you for your time, which is most precious of all. This has been a Mystic Divinations podcast. Your host, Tama P, creator of mysticdivinations.com, that's mystic with a K, wants to send you healing energy. Blessed be.